All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to do just an example of a real world scenario of using quadratic formula. So this one is your school's jazz band is selling CDs as a fundraiser. The total profit, so that's the total amount of money that you make, depends on the amount that your band charges for each CD. So X is going to represent how much you're charging for each CD. So if you charge $5, $6, $7, that will change the amount of money you make because you're charging more or less. All right, so then you're given the equation that P is equal to negative X squared plus 48X minus 300, where P is our profit, so it tells us how much we make or how much we made for selling our CDs, where X is the amount of money that we charge. So we can change how much we want to charge, and we want to figure out our profit. So this tells us that this equation models the profit of the fundraiser. What is the least amount in dollars that we can charge to make a profit of 200? So if we want to make a profit of 200, so we want our P to be equal to 200, what they're asking us to do here then is solve for X. They want to know how much can we charge. What is the least, what is it, the amount that we need to charge, the minimum, to have a profit of 200? So this means we're just going to solve our quadratic equation. So when we're solving, whether we want to do factoring or any of the other methods, we want to set this equal to 0. We want to write it in standard form. So that means we're going to subtract over 200. So we get negative X squared plus 48X minus 500 is equal to 0. All right, now we're going to use quadratic formula. All right, so then we need to identify our A, our B, and our C. So our A is negative 1. It's what's being multiplied to the X squared. Our B is 48. It's what's being multiplied to the X. And then our C is our constant, and that's negative 500. All right, so now we need to plug it into our formula of our quadratic formula, which is X is equal to negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over top of 2A. All right, and now we're just going to plug it in. So we have X is equal to negative B, so that's negative 48, plus or minus the square root of 48 squared minus 4 times A, which we know A is negative 1, and then times C, which is negative 500, all over top of 2 times A, which is 2 times negative 1. All right, so now we just go ahead and simplify. So we get X is equal to negative 48 plus or minus the square root of 48 squared is 2,304. And then negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And then positive 4 times negative 500 will give me negative 2,000. And all over top of 2 times negative 1 will give me negative 2. All right, and then we just go ahead and keep simplifying. So now we have X is equal to negative 48 plus or minus the square root. Well, 2,304 minus 2,000 is 304. All over top of negative 2. All right, and like I said before, there might be times where you're asked to leave it in this situation, but since they want to know the dollar amount, you wouldn't leave it as a radical. So then we need to figure out, well, what is the square root of 304? So we can write this off to the side. The square root of 304, this is going to approximately be equal to 17 point, I'm going to round to the hundredth since we can sell our CDs and pennies. So we have 17.44. All right, now real quick, the question actually says to round to your find the amount in dollars, so it means we're going to round to the nearest whole number, but we don't want to round to the nearest whole number just yet. The earlier you round, the further away your answer could actually be from the real answer. So you want to round at the end. So I'm going to still use 17.44 as the square root of 304, and then at the end I'll just round. All right, so then remember, when we have this negative 48 plus or minus the square root. That means we actually have two equations. We have that x is equal to negative 48 plus the square root of 304, which we said was 17.44, divided by negative 2. Or we have the equation that x is equal to negative 48 minus the square root of 304, which we said was 17.44. So it's minus 17.44 divided by 2, or negative 2. All right? And then from here, we're just going to solve. So we have negative 48 plus 17.44. That's going to give me negative 30.56. Divide this by negative 2. And then when we divide this by negative 2, that's going to give me 15.28, which if we round to the nearest dollar, that's going to be that x is approximately equal to $15. So that means if we sell our CDs for $15, that we will have a profit of $200. All right, and then we will do the next one. So it's 48, negative 48 minus 17.44. So minus 17.44 is going to give me x is equal to negative 65.44. And then when we divide that by negative 2, that's going to give me that x is equal to 32.72. Remember, we want it to the nearest dollar. So we are going to round to the nearest whole number. So since that's greater than 5, x is going to be approximately equal to $33. All right, so that means if we sell our CDs for $15 or $33, we would have a profit of $200. But the question says what was the least amount that we could sell it for. So since 15 is less than 33, we would sell our CDs for $15 in order to have a profit of $200. All right, and that is just going through an example of a word problem that you can use your quadratic formula. And that is it for this section.